ਫਤਿਹ।
Hello? Yeah, okay.
ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਫਤਿਹ।
This isn't a good one, I understand. So, I'm going to try and talk to you about consciousness. Do we understand what consciousness is? Are we even interested in consciousness? No? Well, I'm going to bore you for a few minutes. What do you consider your purpose of your life to be? Apart from having a good time at the university, that's acceptable. What do you consider your life to be about? Meet God, meet a nice girl, nice woman, have a family, couple of BMW, nice house in Spain. Yeah? Yeah, pretty much the same thing Guru Nanak had in mind as well. Consciousness. How many of you are medics? How many of you are budding medics here? So, any one of you into neuroscience? Then obviously you will know that consciousness is becoming quite a problem in terms of definition. Is it an emergent property of your brain, or is it something a little bit more intrinsic? The West hasn't got a clue what consciousness is. And unfortunately, our Sikh has been corrupted with that same mindset. And what I'm going to try to present to you is quite an alternative view. It isn't something that I've just thought through. It's taken me several years of research to get here. And it's part and parcel of a PhD that I'm involved in. I want anything that I say to be challenged. Okay, so I'm not giving you a talk with a view of saying, I know what I'm talking about. I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. I expect you guys to challenge my thinking. So consciousness. We start off very simply. Do you actually know who you are? Have you ever given that question any thought? Just nod if you have. Yes, some of you have. And if I was to ask you, who are you? Where would your definition start from? Would you start from your gender? Would it start from your race, your caste, your age? Where would you start your definition of who am I? See, we can tell most things about everything, but what we don't know anything about is ourselves. That's the real tragedy about life. And something here makes sense. And Sikhi, Buddhism, Sufism, Zen, any of those sort of East or Oriental faiths seem to suggest that they have an answer. I'm going to present that to you. I think we all have an identity issue. I think we work with schizophrenics. With schizophrenics that have confusion which is caused by a duality. And there's a duality which is based on two things. One, you know who you are through an action. I'm a student. I'm a lecturer. I'm a doctor. I'm a human being. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I'm a boy. I'm a girl. I'm 47. I'm 58. Whatever. And the other identity that we have is that we know that we are. Do you understand that? We know that we are. If you asked you, do you know that you're alive? And you were to close your eyes, I think you know that you are. That you exist. Is there anyone here who doesn't exist? But that's to do with your schizophrenia. Do you understand? Because this is absolutely critical. Because unless we understand this right, everything else doesn't make sense. So we're starting off with this primary understanding of identity. And identity goes in two ways. Identity, which is to do with a doing identity. I am this, I am that, I am the other. And an identity, an inner intrinsic identity, that I exist. And there's a big difference. So, of all the identities that we have, think about this. You can say, you know what, I want an nice car. I want to get my degree. I want to get out of this lecture. It's boring the crap out of me. I want to be a student. I am a student. I am thinking. I am doing. All these experiences are of you acting. All of these define you through these words. So I am a this, I am a that. And through all of these experiences, you build these little images. And those images you hold within yourself. And what you tend to do is you revert back to these images. So if I said to you, who are you? You may turn around and say, you know what? Actually, I was born in Southport. I was born in India. I was born in Africa. I was born in Thailand. Wherever you were born in. And you pick up images. Oh, what did you do yesterday? Oh, I went to see a film. You pick up an image. So your identity is based on this collection of images that you hold within yourself. It's the album of you. And every time you refer to it, you strengthen it. And this self-referential or self-referencing identity is what is called an ego. It's what Gurbani calls Ho Man. Ho means reference, me. Ho Man. Ho Man. It's an automatic process. It's absolutely essential. Quantum physics demonstrates this Ho Man allows you to break anything that you observe into a subject and object reality. Subject meaning you, object meaning what you are actually observing. There's a duality that takes place. This association with this hormone, this album that you carry inside you, is really a false identity. And I'm going to prove it's a false identity. In fact, I don't need to prove, I'm going to get you to prove it to yourselves. But there is another line. There's a far more fundamental identity of you that exists in you, which is different to the identity I've just described. The identity of your color, your height, and all that sort of stuff. There's an identity which is to do with your subjective sense of existence. I need you to understand this really well. What I'm saying, subject. Subject means each and every one of you. You sense that you are. If you close your eyes, do you exist? Do you know that you exist? That's what I'm talking about. There's a difference. Do we get that? Does anyone not understand that?
I'm just remembering that all your past thoughts.
Okay. We'll go to that. If you close your eyes, do me a favor, close your eyes. Everyone. Do you exist inside yourself? Do you actually exist? Is there something living inside you? Is there something that is? Forget about the memories. Do you have a sense of, I know I am? Yes? Yeah? Okay. Most of our identity is normally to do with what you'd call your self-image. Gurbani absolutely condemns this. Buddhism absolutely condemns this. It condemns it for one simple reason. Not that this shouldn't exist. It's absolutely paramount that your false identity exists. Because it's only through that that you can actually find out who you really are. The reason is, it's like a shell. You know, you have an egg, and an egg is protected with a shell. It's needed until the egg is ripe for hatching. A seed is protected by a coat. It's needed until it sprouts out. Your ego, your hormone, is identical to that. It keeps something protected until you are mature enough to drop it. And we need to identify what is it that we're going to drop. So we need to find out this thing. And you're going to follow this experiment for me, okay? I want you to close your eyes. Sit up straight, close your eyes. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying. I want you to stop. Look inside. inside yourself. Try and sense the very origin, your most basic, your most personal I, your very core subjective experience of I. Try to find the root of the I feeling, the bit that's inside you that says I, that you know that you are. The most root thing, the thing that makes you alive. Try and find it. Keep looking. No matter how far you go down, have you noticed something? No matter how far you go down, there's always someone watching you. When you look for something, when you're looking for that I inside you, have you noticed that there is this looking aspect of you? There's something inside you seeking this I. There's something that's trying to observe the I. Do you see that? Do you understand that? Do you? Yeah? Yes? And no matter how far you go, you come to your thoughts and you say, I've nearly got it. But there's someone watching your thoughts. No matter how far you go inside, you have content in your mind. Every time you try and locate this I inside you, it'll jump back. By that what I mean is, every time you try to find who am I, there's always someone looking for it. And what I'm trying to identify is there is an observer, the bit that's looking for it, and the bit that's being observed. And the bit that's looking inside you is the bit that I want you to try and get to. Are we clear on that? No? Just note if you're following me. Is anyone confused? Are we still on the same page, yeah? Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, when you close your eyes and you try and identify something inside you, who am I? You will find that there's an aspect of you that's trying to look for it, and there's an aspect of you which is being looked at. What you're looking at is the content of your mind, the feelings, the thoughts. But there's something that's looking at it. Every one of you can experience that right this moment. And the bit that's looking for it is the bit that we need to separate from the bit that we're looking at. The question that arises is, who is this that's looking for it? Can you put an identity on it? When you close your eyes and look at yourself inside, who is it that's looking at it? And you can say, well, it's me. Well, who the hell is me? Define it. And no matter how far you go down, you are all conscious, you are all aware, you all can hear me, you can all see this. You're all functioning. Yet there's someone inside you that's looking at this. When you see this big screen, have you noticed? Your brain looks at it, your eyes look at it, you see it. And then you focus on a word and you start picking these words out in order to read them. That's your focus, your attention, your awareness. The same aspect occurs within you. If you close your eyes as opposed to looking outside, you look inside. And I'll go through another experiment in a minute. The difference is, there is one that's looking, and there's one that is being seen. The content that you carry within you, and the content that each and every one of us has, is to do with feelings, thoughts, emotions, memories, any aspect of us that we carry within ourselves, sensations. And there's something that knows I'm feeling. There's something inside you that knows that you're feeling hungry. There's something inside you that knows that it's got up in the middle of the night and it's had a nice sleep. You weren't conscious when you were asleep, but when you wake up, you know had a good sleep? Have you noticed when you're having a dream, you're always observing yourself jumping across mountains and stuff like that? Depends on what sort of dreams you have. But it's always you are watching yourself doing these things. Yes? That's the eye I'm talking about. That's the observer I'm talking about. It just takes a little bit, and when you click, you'll get it. It's like a joke, you know? Probably a bad one, but you get it. I'm not going to say it. So this awareness, this I, is not actually an identity. It's simply awareness. Look at that. Look at what is awareness. Just focus on that. There's something from you that's a stream of consciousness that goes to those words. Prior to it registering in your head and saying, I'm reading something. Before the dialogue starts. All it is just awareness. This stream of awareness that you get, this stream of awareness is the I want to concentrate on. Not the content, which is that stuff you do. Yeah? So the things that we are always aware of are things like thoughts, emotions, images, sensations, desires, memories. That's what you think you are. That's how you have been going through life, defining yourself. Consider it. How do you define yourself to your friends? You define them through those things. Your friends cannot know your inside. Who's going to know the inside of you? Only you. That inside is the one that we're looking at, not the outside, not the content. Yeah? We will have questions in a while. So what I'm saying is, awareness is the ground, the very ground of your existence. You are aware, Jagat, Chetna, Surat. Do these terms mean anything to you? Gurbani talks about this continuously. Gurbani is a science of consciousness, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. And I would challenge anyone to think if it's to do with this, if it's to do with my Panchakar, these are secondary issues. The primary point of Gurbani, Buddhism, or any of these absolutely transpersonal, consciousness changing activities are to do with the consciousness, to do with your inside. They change something, they just switch something. One moment you're looking this way, and then the next moment you're looking that way. It's still you. That's all it does. That is what Gurbani is about. I'll tell you a story. It said that a bloke was walking down and came across a number of people, and they came across this one bloke who was sitting there with a big smile on his face, emaciated, happy. And the king asks, what has he got that I haven't got? He said, he's awake. That's all it is. Gurbani, go through Guru Granth Sahib, Sri Guru Granth Sahib, type in the word awake. It'll come hundreds of times. Type the word consciousness. It'll come in thousands of times. Type in the word awareness. It'll come in hundreds. All it's about is your awareness. All it's about is your consciousness. Nothing else. So unless you understand what consciousness is, there's no point in being Gurbani. It doesn't make any sense. There's no point in becoming religious. You can't. That's just ego trip. You know? Look at my beard, it's that long. Ego trip. If you sit beside someone who understands his consciousness, you will feel light. If you sit before or beside someone who may have a big beard, the 5 kids and everything else that goes with it, but inside they're not connected, it makes no difference. So, Gurbani, Sikhi is all about changing one set of, changing you from one way of looking at yourself to another. Your content, your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations are always changing. If you were to close your eyes and look at yourself now, you'll feel different. A bit more bored, but you'll feel different. And the reason you'll feel different is because it's changed. But you haven't changed. Your content's changed, but you haven't changed. It's the bit that doesn't change that we are concerned with. It's not the bit that changes that we're concerned with. So what is awareness? Awareness is the very ground of your existence. Because you are aware, because you exist, you have awareness. Do you think this TV, this monitor, speakers, lights have awareness? The chair you're sitting on, does that have awareness? No. Unlikely. They have, but unlikely. A cat has awareness. Dog has awareness. Living sentient beings have awareness. Plants have awareness. Mushrooms have awareness. Fungus, fungi, bacteria have awareness. In fact, even single-cell parameciums, if you put them into a little pillory tube, you do 2 or 3 times, it recognizes that every time this thing comes at me, it pulls me in, so it'll try and get away. It doesn't have a brain. It doesn't have a nervous system to speak about, but it actually recognizes something. It has awareness. Approach a plant every day with the thought of killing it, and it will start dying. It has awareness. You don't speak to it, just think about it. Approach a glass of water and thank it before you drink it. It tastes totally different. Try it. Water has awareness. So awareness is the very ground of your existence. Any attempt to try and describe awareness ends up describing it, describing a content and not awareness itself. Awareness cannot be described. And no matter how far you go inside, your awareness is always independent of what what you're observing. Your awareness is always the witness, and it's always standing aside from what you're looking at. This is what meditation does. Meditation doesn't get God to you. All meditation does is very simply allow you to define the difference between someone who's watching and what it's watching. Yeah? Let's go for this experiment. Look straight ahead and shut your eyes. I'm going to run away now. No. You'll find that everything around you has disappeared. Yes, everything that you're looking at has disappeared when you close your eyes. But yet inside, you can see a black vision of a sort. Perhaps it has some tinges of reds and yellows. But your awareness hasn't changed. You can still see that black bit. You can still see that black image. Open your eyes. You can see all of this. Close your eyes. And you can see the black. But there is something watching it. Do you get it? Yes. You will notice that awareness continues as your thoughts come and go. So you'll say, I'm getting hungry now. But it's as your thoughts are coming and going. And every time a thought comes in, you try and identify it. You try and go over it. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you've forgotten about what I'm talking about and you're running behind your thoughts. Now try and observe. Close your eyes again. When you see that black image in front of you, lack of light, try and observe the awareness. You will notice that awareness cannot be made an object of observation. Because as soon as you try and observe it, it's being observed, it jumps back at it. You just can't get hold of it. And that's happening inside all of you. It's not a theory, this is experimental, right in front of you. It's only when you reject every component that isn't awareness. What is left is awareness. So you're not of your thoughts, you're not of your sensations, your emotions and all that stuff. All you're left with 3 things. You're alive, there is a light inside you. I'm not talking about a light like that. By light I mean there is something that knows you're alive. It's alive with that knowledge. And you are a state of being, not a state of doing. We are human beings, not human doings. But we spend our lives doing things. We're engaged in the content and not in living. Awareness is constant, it doesn't change. Whether you open your eyes, close your eyes, there is always this awareness that's looking around. It's featureless, it has no form, it has no texture, it has no color, it has no dimensions. Yet it's different from your thoughts. Yet it's different from your feelings. It's different from your sensations and it's different from your memories. Awareness is completely at a different level. And unlike everything else you experience, unlike objects, sensations, emotions, memories, awareness exists as something that is the observer, not the observed. And it's your very ground of being. Let's now take this in terms of Gurbani. The word Omkar. Normal definition of that, depending on who you speak to, is there is one God. I don't quite agree with that. I don't agree with that for the following reason. Because Gurbani doesn't agree with that. The word Omkar has its roots from the word Om. And the word Om has its roots from 4 states of consciousness. The first state of consciousness, if you remember Om, it's a 3 with a little squiggle and a squiggle here and a dot. Yes? Those people who know about Hinduism. Let's look at Ikunkar, the Ura. Yeah? Big 3, Lala. The first round, the first curve represents your state of awake. You all experience the awaking state. You're awake here, but some of you. The second state that Gurbani talks about is a state of dreaming. We all dream. The third state that Gurbani talks about is dreamless sleep. There's a time when you sleep when there are no dreams. The waking state, you're conscious. The dream state, you're unconscious. And the dreamless sleep, you are in the subconscious level. If you consider this as a river, the waking bit is the river surface. The dream is the current that runs underneath it. And the dreamless sleep is the bed, which carries all the rocks and the pebbles and all the grit, etc. So as the current goes on, it pushes some of these things up. And they enter your unconscious, which then enters your conscious. And the other way around as well. This, everyone accepts, Freud, Jung, everyone. But Gurbani goes one stage further. It talks about a state called Turiya. There is no word in the Western dictionary definition that can actually come to that word because they don't know it. It's akin to someone trying to describe what it's like living in, I don't know, say 500 billion light years away from you. There's just no concept of it. The word Turiya is what Gurbani calls as Chautapad, the 4th stage. The 4th stage of your meditation. It's a simple, people say it's very difficult to achieve. But if you follow what I've been telling you, which is about content and awareness, it gives you a routine. It tells you how to get there. Let me give you some panktiyan from the Guru Granth Sahib. You can read them. I haven't made them up. The 3 qualities that Gurbani describes are Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. It is the three qualities that allow existence to take place. Let me now define to you Gurbani in terms of man. Simple. Man to Jyot Swarup hai apna moon pucha. Man, mind. To Jyot, you are the light. Recognize your root. Recognize your root. Recognize where you emanate from. What I've been talking about earlier on, the content is all to do with man. Man, you have 6 types of consciousness. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, smell consciousness. Think about it. When you taste something, you're conscious of the taste. When you look at something, you're conscious of what you're looking at. When you hear something, you're conscious of what you're hearing. You have 6. And then you have the mind, which is conscious of its thoughts. So you have 6 types of consciousness. At least 6. Neuroscience, I think, has got to 1/25th of a second. Your mind is making little snapshots. And that then seamlessly put together as a seamless stream of consciousness. The Buddhists, through their meditation, have got to 1/74,000th of a second consciousness taking place. 1/74,000th of a second. While the West has been looking at the world outside, the East has been cataloguing states of mind. And this is where the marriage of East and West will take place. It's on consciousness. After consciousness, you have Buddh. All of them. Buddh is discrimination or discriminating intellect. It's the bit that tells you, should I or shouldn't? You're looking at something. Okay, let me give you an example. You stand outside, absolutely gorgeous sunset, and for a moment you just lost it. And then you start describing it. Oh, isn't it lovely? Tell you a story about Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu was a very, very profound individual, and I would place him in the same category of individuals like Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Buddha. It said that Lao Tzu used to go every morning to have a look at the sunrise with his neighbor, and his neighbor started saying, "Can I bring my brother or my brother-in-law?" And after a few months, Lao Tzu said, "Yeah, go on." So they went to this mountain's edge, had a look at this fabulous sunrise, and the neighbor, the brother-in-law, says, "It's beautiful," and they walk back. Lao Tzu turns to his friend and says, his neighbor, and says, "Don't bring him again." He said, "Why?" He says, "He talks too much." He only said one word. "It's beautiful." He talks too much. That's what we do. We see something, it takes us, and before you know it, your Buddha's engaged. Oh, it's lovely, it's this, it's bad, it's good, it's differentiating. And that differentiation creates a separateness between you and the other. And this is what Gurbani challenges. It says, ik. And that ik means there is no difference between you and the other. The next thing is home. Me. Home is a collection of all your images that you carry with it. It doesn't bloody exist. It's the bit that's going to be ripped out of you when you die. This is the bit that's going to hurt. Dying isn't that big a problem. Homemade dying is a real problem. I'll give you another very interesting, good book. Go and find a book called Good Life, Good Death. It's written by a medic, a Buddhist medic. And I claim, the reason I mention a lot of Buddhism is simply because I think the Buddhists are probably one of the only people who've scientifically studied consciousness. Two individuals were they came back from China after having been tortured there as part of the Tibetan freedom fighter strike. Quite old. Came to Dharamsala, met Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama asked the one of them, were you ever in danger? And he says, yes, twice. He says, really? What happened? He says, well, the first time when they crushed my legs, and the second time when they broke my hip, I nearly got angry. To them, danger wasn't dying. To them, danger was getting angry. Conflict. They decide that they're going to die. They decide they're going to let go of life on a particular day. They get all the rest of their Buddhist chums together. They get the guy who's writing the book, who's a medic. And before you know it, they go through the ceremony, one of them dies. The other one screams. Gets him into intensive care. A few weeks later, having a chat with him, or a week later having a chat with him. And the doctor asks him, he says, I can't understand, you are a far better experienced, more experienced mystic than the guy who died. How come you couldn't let go of your life? He said, I don't know. I really tried. I did everything right, but I just couldn't. And as he's speaking, a little bit of spit drops on his shirt. So he says to the doctor, he says, do you like my shirt? And the doctor says, give me your shirt. And he tears his shirt. As soon as he tore the shirt, the guy dies. The reason he couldn't die was before he left, before his soul, we use the word soul, although we can challenge that. Before this life expired, his dhyan, his awareness went into his shirt, and that caught him. Everything you build your awareness with, everything you build your attachment with, is what's going to make your dying harder. I know you don't want me to talk about death, but that's life. Your life is only meaningful because you're going to die. Otherwise it'll be meaningless. One thing is certain, you will die. One thing is uncertain, when you die. And if you want to die this very second, what do you think? How do you think you're going to go? I don't know. Leave you with that question. So this homemade, you've got to be very careful of. Because this homemade sneaks in and builds these relationships, attaches itself, aren't I beautiful? Body images. Haven't I got great degrees and all these titles? Haven't I got a lovely car? Haven't I got a big house? Haven't I got a good wife? Haven't I got a bad wife? Haven't I got a whatever? Attachment. These attachments will actually bring you down. These attachments, the more attached you are. Very interesting idea. People in comas, they reckon can't understand why they will die at times. And the reason they don't die is because they've got an attachment. They have an attachment with something that's still alive. People who die, you check it out, guys. It's always when you leave, when there's no one in the room, that they'll die. Or statistically significantly more people will die when you get rid of, when everyone in the family leaves the room. It's happened to me a number of times. With my father and a very good friend of mine. And the reason is, even though they may not be aware in terms of their consciousness, there's something that's still connecting. There's something that's still keeping them together. So we've got to be careful with this formula. And the fourth aspect of your man, your consciousness, is chit, awareness. So what does Gurbani talk about? Gurbani talks about, let me give you the first word. Ek Onkar Satnam Karta Purkh. I'll stop at the word Purkh. Usual definition is Purkh is created being or creator being. The word Purkh comes from the word Purusha, Sanskrit. The word Purusha means awake. Karta Purkh is that one which is in his creation and is awake. And you're thinking, well, how the hell's that happening? Because I'm not awake, how is it awake? that very awaking quality is what your awareness is. So when Gurbani talks to you that God resides inside you, it doesn't mean Guru Nanak's hanging inside your heart. It's saying that quality of being aware is his aspect. It's not an image. It's not that he's given me Amrit. It's simply because you're aware. Because you're aware, that's the bit inside you that is to do with the oneness. And once you start connecting with that one, that awareness in yourself, you start relating with other people differently. Because every one of you have the same awareness that I have. And once I know my awareness, and I know the sensitivities to my awareness, it makes me think twice how I treat you. It makes me think twice how I go and rape my planet. It makes me think twice before I stand with a government that can go out and absolutely massacre tens of thousands of kids while we're here listening to this lecture. That's what it does. It wakes you up. And you're able to do that yourself. So this Karta Punk is different from those content. And people will say, I think you're talking bollocks now. And I challenge anyone, here or anywhere else, to find me a different definition than where we've come to. This definition isn't knowledge. This definition is experience. There are 4 ways of knowing something. The first way is, and I use this often, I put my hand in the fire. I know what burning is. I feel the pain. You sitting next to me, you have the knowledge of the pain because you saw the fire. And you saw the blood or whatever, the injury. But you saw that I felt something. So, but you have the knowledge. Your friend sitting next to you believes you. When you go and say to her, don't go near fire, you know it hurts. She believes you because she's your friend. She never goes near fire, so her children never go near fire. That's their ritual. But they don't know why they're doing it. Do you understand? Guru Granth Sahib Ji is knowledge. It's the second. It's Guru Nanak, Bhagat, the other gurus, the mystics, their experience written down as knowledge. But he said, look guys, you do it now. But you have to do it. So don't hang on to the knowledge and say, oh, I know Gurbani now, you know, I can do 20,000 nicknames, I can get so many sparked in my life or any of that stuff. It ain't that. You need to use that to move forward. It's like, a very beautiful metaphor I heard was, it's like someone pointing at the moon. And everyone's not looking at the moon and just hanging onto the finger. And that's what we do. We go, or better still, it's like going to IKEA. I don't know if you guys still do that. But it's going to IKEA, buying the best flat-packed furniture you want, bringing it home, taking the instructions out, putting a rawala on the instructions, and then someone doing the kirtan of those instructions, and then someone coming and giving you a lecture on those instructions. The word ah means this and this, and then someone coming over and bowing down and putting some money in front of it. Yeah? And then someone carrying it on their head and putting it in a little cover. And there's a group of people with their chani at the back. That's what we do. We've got the instructions, but no one's actually built the furniture. Gurbani is only effective if you build the furniture. Do you understand? Yeah? Do we get that? Okay. These are just some points that I think you need to be aware of. That the very core of your existence, the very core of I, is awareness, which is very different to the other I, which is the content, which is thoughts, emotions, and all that stuff. And you don't need to be able to imagine this, what is my awareness, because you can feel it. You know that you are. You know that you're alive. You know that you exist. You know you're sitting there. You don't need to imagine, oh, I wonder what it feels like to be alive. You are alive. The very fact that you exist, that sense of existence, that subjective sense of existence, is what awareness is. I have, right from movement, some books that I took out this morning from the Guru Granth Sahib. You notice that's to do with awareness, the Lord of awareness. The Lord of life is awake. I don't like the word Lord because it doesn't, you can't see anywhere where it says the Lord, the word Lord up there, do you? You can't see that, but it's just the translation. It calls here following the path of intuitive awareness. I think intuitive awareness is perhaps just embellishment there. One turns away from the world. The world is the content in your mind. So if you identify yourself with the awareness and not with the content of what's going on in your head, that's all Gurbani is asking you to do. Gurbani is quite simple to follow, you know. The third one talks about awareness. He himself is awareness. The fact that you're aware, the fact that you know you are, that's what makes him exist in you. That's the aspect of him that's existing. Because you can't get to it. No matter how much you try and identify yourself with this awareness, okay, what the hell is this thing that's looking at everything inside me? It has the same description as Ikompa, Satna, Kartapa. There's only one, awareness in you. It exists. It doesn't end. Whether you're asleep or not, it doesn't end. It is true, because no matter whether you're looking at me or you're closing your eyes, that awareness is still there. And actually, awareness is neither afraid of anything, nor does it hate anything. It's your thoughts that hate people, not your awareness. Your awareness is indiscriminate. Couldn't care less. It's like a big blank screen. Whatever you project on it, it's your intellect that comes in and then decides what it wants to do with it. Gurbani talks, there's a beautiful word in Gurbani called Antarjami. Antarjami means the inner knower. The inner knower. Antarjami. Who the hell knows you better than yourself inside? Have you thought about it? We read this in Raras. Antar Guru Ratna, G.O.A.T Gurna, Netri Satguru Pekna, and Sir. Guru Arjan Dev Ji describes 4 stages. He says, Antar Guru Aradhana, beautiful meditation. Antar Guru Aradhana, he says, chill out and go and find this awareness. Because it's Guru Arjan, he was the most chilled of all things. Okay? He says, Antar Guru Aradhana. As soon as you touch your awareness, whatever comes to your lips is his name. Netri Satguru Pekha. Whatever you see is his form. And whatever you hear is him. That's a meditation that Guru Arjan Dev Ji has given us. Try it. It's a very difficult meditation to get your head around. But once you get it, see, we read Raras, or we've heard people read, but we never take time to open it out and understand it. Gurbani just talks about meditation again and again. It's trying to define the 2 things. Content, hobby, and you. Your awareness. I'm nearly coming to the end. Now Gurbani talks about how to build a relationship. If we had this bottle of water here, no matter what I say to this bottle of water, I can't build a relationship with it. Well, I could if I was really sad. I could dress it up perhaps, in a little skirt or something, carry it around in my car or something, introduce it to my friend, this is me and Mike or whatever I call it. When I was at university, we once bought a blow-up doll called Shirley. And we used to take her. We used to take her to our, when I say me and my other imaginary friends. We used to take her to our hall of where we used to have lunch. I can't remember what it was called. It was in Royal Holloway College. And Ashford, that's it. And the only reason we used to take her there is because you could get a free lunch with her. Yeah, I know it's a sad way to live a life, you know what I mean? Things were bad then. So, but I couldn't build a relationship with her. Not that I tried. Why? Because she's inanimate.
You can help.
I tried. I really did. Talk and everything. But it's rubbish. Meet Shirley. Yeah, she's not a Sikh, but I think she'll take on her. She just wasn't into it. The reason I'm showing you, the reason I'm discussing that is because no matter what it is, if something is not animated, if something does not have life in it, you can't build a relationship. If I talk to you lovingly, I'll build a relationship. If I talk to you like you mean nothing to me, soon you walk away. There's no relationship. Good morning keeps referring to one thing. Let your consciousness be lovingly focused. The second one, those who conquer their own mind by Guru's grace, lovingly focused. He who knows Satguru, so he's transformed and then lovingly focuses. Why would Guru Nanak use such emotional terms if Shabad is without conscience? Think about it. The only people in this world who recognize that even a word has consciousness in it are the Sikhs and the Tibetans. The Tibetans, not so long ago, wouldn't let a piece of paper with writing on it on the floor. In fact, that was a very good Indian tradition not so long ago. Because they believed that it has consciousness. It does. But look what the Sikhs do. They have Sri Guru Granth Sahib. They wrap it up in a mala. They put a fan on when it's hot. They put it to sleep and wake it up. They talk to it. They dress it up. They fan it when it's hot. They warm it up when it's cold. And we would think, are you guys real? Yeah. Very real. So real that I think the world is just about to catch up with how far we are. Guru Nanak onwards, I can talk here from a Sikh perspective, recognize that the word Shabad, when I say word, I'm talking about a vibration, is actually a line. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was asked, who's your Guru then, mate? By a yogi. Because he thought, you know what, yeah, he's seen, because I think the reference is Bala, you little kid. So who's your Guru? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji's response was, Shabad Guru, Sort Tud Jena. Shabad, word, is my Guru. Sort, my consciousness, my attention, is the disciple that follows it. And he follows the vibration. Sort Tud means vibration. Jela means disciple. Shabad Guru, Sort Tud Jela. Now, unless Guru Nanak was really talking about himself, I think we've got to be confused. I'm saying Shabad is the content to start off with. So, why, or whatever you want to go, Coca-Cola, whatever you want to start with. If, in fact, a good experiment is to repeat your own name. you'll find after about 15 minutes you'll forget you're doing it. You'll forget that there's someone that you're actually consciously doing it. All that you're engaged in is the name. All you will hear is just the name. Interesting. Right. Sur. Shabad is your content. Sur is your chamber. Sur is the observer, your awareness. So when you say why, listen to it. And if you meet those who get together, that is what Simran is about. Simple. Very simple. You don't need to stand there, dress in black or white, or have a mama or this. Simply need to put those two together. Your awareness with the word. But there is one condition. And that one condition is that Shabad is consciousness. Speak to it like it's your beloved. Speak to it like it's a child. Speak to it like you don't want to hurt it. And you will find that the effect is remarkable. I am not asking you to do something and take my word for it. I'm asking you to try an experiment. And in this experiment, there will only be one of two things. Either it will work or not. If it works, it will add something to your life. And the only thing it adds to your life is a richness of life. Doesn't make you holy. Doesn't make you all bearded. The women don't think, oh God, I ain't doing that, I'm going to have a beard like him. None of that. Word, sound, vibration are conscious. Which is why, if you look at that, if you talk to your aunties, they'll say, "Move some back, and we can move galkadri." Don't just say anything. Because it has an effect. And that Dr. Isurumoto, who took this water and he had people chant prayers at him. And he had water that he had people swear at him and fight over. When you froze the water and you had a look at the molecules, the structures of the molecules, the crystals, if you speak with love, the crystals bloom. If you speak with hatred, anger, any of that stuff, the crystals appear deformed and oily. And now, this is first done in 1995-96 in Tokyo. And now it's considered to be one of the most profound discoveries of the 21st century. What it's showing is the water can carry your intent. Bearing in mind that 70% at least of you are water, depending on how much you had to drink last night, imagine what your own thoughts are doing to you. Imagine all the hateful thoughts that you're having about other people are doing to you. They're changing your chemistry. I'm suggesting that the consciousness of these words depend on where they emanate from. If they emanate from the likes of Guru Nanak, who is in the Turiya Avastha of his consciousness, they carry a different resonance than those like myself, who are just standing here and words coming out of their mouth. There's a difference. So therefore, if you want to talk to anyone, whether you want to talk to Buddha, Guru Nanak, use their body, use their words, and relate to it, and you'll have a dialogue with them. We don't need a gatekeeper to get us to our Creator. We don't need to be saved because we recognize something very profound. And what we recognize is that that very Creator resides in us and we can tap into it. So, let me redefine a couple of things for you. Last line. Existence is Akal Purukh, is pure awareness. The fact that you're alive this very second is all that you have. You don't have a minute in front, you don't have a minute behind. This is all that you have. That is what I'm talking about, existence, now. A manmukh is someone who faces the content of their mind, the emotions, the sensations. Oh, I feel this and I feel that and I feel the other. That's manmukh. Maya is engaging with this poison. That's why it becomes a poison. Because this content always changes, it creates more emotional turmoil and thought turmoil in you, and therefore your identity is with that content. And therefore it's a poison, because it takes you away from yourself. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar. Lust, Kam, Krodh. Anger, greed, attachment, and pride stroke I am are all content increasing. They all increase your content. See a lovely little woman, and you go, hey, content. See a couple of skinheads, go, whoa, content. Here. Content, create, and if you attach yourself to that content, you're manmukh facing. A gurmukh is awareness facing. Not someone who's got a big beard, or someone who's taking a breath. These are secondary phases, tertiary phases. These are the primary ones. The first one starts inside. If you focus yourself towards your awareness, you become guru facing. If you focus yourself towards your content, you become manmukh. And you need to cultivate a state where you can detach yourself from your content. And to detach yourself from content, you need to practice meditation. Meditation within Gurbani is called dhyan. Dhyan means awareness. So what do? Very simple. 2 techniques I'll leave you with. The simplest technique without any religious baggage is you sit down, close your eyes for a couple of minutes, and you focus on your breathing. But don't breathe from your chest. Breathe from your navel. Breath going in, breath going out. Like you do. You'll find that children, when they breathe, their stomachs go up and down. When we breathe, our chests go up and down. This is why children don't get tired. They're always breathing from their hara center. You will also find that there's a relationship between your mind and your breath. The more excited you get, the more shallow and faster your breath becomes. The more relaxed you become, the deeper your breath becomes. So you can either excite your head, which will influence your breath, or you can influence your breath, which will influence your mind. So you have conscious control over your breath, but not on your mind. So for meditation, simple. The first one, sit, breathing through. After the first 20 minutes, normally about 15, 18, 20 minutes. After about 20, if you can do it for 20 minutes, and your thoughts will run all over the place. After about 20 minutes, there's something that will descend on you. You'll feel, you know what, something's changed. That's when your awareness and your content are just separated. You can feel it. Don't take my word for it, try it. That's number one. If you want to do it the other way, which is using Gurbani, pick any shabad. Vayu, Satnam, Akalpur, Omkar. Omkar is brilliant. It is such a powerful shabad, but you have to use it with care. The reason you use it with care is that your awareness moves far faster than you're able to handle. So therefore you have to do it sometimes with care. When you say the word Om, it starts with silence. The A, R, O, R comes from nothing. There's a silence, and then the word, then the sound appears. The U, A-U-M. Let me just spell it O. A, beginning. U, extension. M, ending. A is your conscious state. M is your sleep, dream state. The M is your dreamless state. If you do the same mantra with that feeling, with that understanding, you will start waking up while you're dreaming. What that means is that while you're dreaming, you will be awake knowing that you're dreaming. And then it's like a parachuter. Right? This is the best definition I can give you. Just imagine we're going to go and do some parachuting. So we get into a plane, whack on a parachute, off we go, and we fall out. That's what we do. Shabad, So, the plane and the parachute. We go up, they're useful to get into the air. But once you're there, you drop. And you are conscious. You, just as you can hear me, you can hear yourself and you can go and have a check around in all your dreams. And you can drop a bit further. In all your subconscious. Every single thing you've ever been in your creation. Right the way from the first DNA onwards. These are very profound, life-changing events. Meditation isn't for the weak. Meditation is for people who want to really give their life meaning. But you need to know what you're doing. It's better to do something. It's better not to do it if you don't know how to do it. Then it's better not to attempt it if you don't know how to do it. It's better to go and find someone who knows. And it's very simple. Shabad, sod. Breath, sod. All you're doing is bringing your awareness to your breath. Try it. Sit up. Drop your shoulders. Close your eyes. Gently breathe in through your nose. But take your breath in and your stomach comes out. And when you breathe out, your stomach is pushed in. Just try it for a minute. Just a minute. Remember, it's the tip of your nose, breathing in, going in, coming out. And every so often you want to open your eyes, but there's something telling you to open your eyes. Okay? Very gently, you open your eyes. That's meditation. All you've got to do. Try it for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, building it up to about 20 minutes. And you will find that the awareness that you cultivate in your today, walking life, in your everyday life, you'll be aware of more things. Greens will become greener. You will notice birds singing. And you will notice people before they even speak. You will know the quality and where they're speaking from. Head, heart or heart. People who speak from the head, never trust them. People who speak from the heart, they become your lovers. And I'm not talking necessarily sexual lovers, they're just part of life. Children, you relate to them with your heart, not with your head. And then you come across those very special people in your life, where it matters here. You know, there's a gut feeling about them. And that's what awareness does. It will only improve your quality of life. So it's Gurbani, to just sum up, is nothing to do with an external. It has to start with the internal. And that's what's starting. Okay? I'll take any questions.